death, taxes, and Ross Atkins being active on the trade market in the offseason. Now, will the Toronto Blue Jays part ways with some of their stars to address some other needs in their lineup? All that and much more coming up on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside Nick Gosse, and we're back again with another daily upload. And we got some more news out of Jays land today, where we saw that Ross Atkins is going to be active on the trade market this offseason, as he always is.
Yeah, a few days ago, I guess it was 2 or 3 days ago, an article came out from The Athletic and basically said the Blue Jays would be bigger players in the trade market than free agency. So, meaning essentially that, I mean, we kind of knew that. I'm sure they'll be inquiring on free agents like Trey Turner and Carlos Correa, but looking like a trade is the most likely scenario to at least make a big impact on the, I'm just hoping the pitching side.
And they've always been big players on the trade market just because they had no other choice. They couldn't necessarily go after the big dogs in free agency because not many people want to come here. We know the tax situation. It's not ideal for the Toronto Blue Jays, despite how much money they actually have. But they have the pieces, not just in their farm system, but in their MLB pipeline or MLB roster to be active and be big players on the trade market.
Yeah, I'll pop up another screenshot here. They basically just said that obviously it feels like the Jays may take a step back from the free agency and be more active on the trade front. And getting into specific players, they said names sure to be in the trade mix include Teoscar Hernandez and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., obviously two outfielders who will be free agents after next season. Um, but it also mentions their best traded candidates, maybe MLB catchers, which we've discussed plenty. But I guess focusing on the Teo and Lourdes thing, I don't know who would you rather trade there.
I don't know. It really depends. I feel like you're going to have to pay Teoscar Hernandez a bit more,
Yeah.
which you might not want to have to do because considering you're going to have to pay Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Alek Manoah, you're going to have to pay all those guys. I don't know if you could throw Teo in there, but Teo is the better ball player. He is not just hitting wise, but he's got a better, not a better arm, but I mean, he just has more potential to do damage in all aspects of the game, as opposed to Gurriel.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before. Teo is definitely the better player. Silver Slugger, much more power. He's more of a scary bat, and obviously he would get much more value than Lourdes would. Especially because Lourdes is now Teo's defense is not great, but Lourdes' actual like routes are pretty bad. But he does have a great arm, so I think Teo would probably be the one who gets more value. But it really depends on who Ross Atkins wants to extend because you can't really. I mean, unless they extend both of them, which I don't think they're gonna do. They might, but you'd have to pay him a lot. So it depends on who they want to extend, who they value internally more. But obviously Lourdes has the old clubhouse presence that obviously Teo does as well. But Lourdes seems like kind of the backbone of the clubhouse.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'll touch on Lourdes a little bit more here. When it comes to the past season that he had, yeah, he had some injuries, but I also think it was a bit of an anomaly. I don't think he's ever going to hit 5 home runs in a full MLB season. That's just not the type of hitter he is. He's not 30 to 40 home run type guy like Teoscar Hernandez. He can definitely jack 15 to 20 bombs every year and be a run producer and hit 275 plus, which he's shown he can do in the past.
Yeah, he's definitely a. I agree. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was the injury was bothering him because he had a bit of an injury update yesterday. I don't know what it was, but 5 home runs is way lower than I thought he was gonna hit. He seems like a 15 to 20 hitter, and obviously we missed him in the playoffs and towards the end of the season. The roster would have been I don't know how much more success we would have had because there were other glaring holes in our on our team, but he would have helped a lot, and he really just extends the lineup. So if you're gonna trade one of them this offseason, like it seems like they might be considering, which is understandable because we'll get touch into it in a minute there about who you think they want to target and what positions, but they're gonna need to move one of them, and I think it's really a measure of who gets more value. Obviously, Teo compared to how much they're gonna have to pay each of them, and then make a decision from there.
And this might be a bit of a hot take here, but I think you can trade both of them if you wanted to, if you don't want to pay them. And you trade one for a lefty outfielder bat, and you trade the other one for a pitcher. I mean, that if you don't want to pay either of them, if you don't think they fit in your future plans, which is I would be honestly okay with. It would take me some time to get over it, but I don't think they're foundational pieces like a Vladimir Guerrero Jr., like an Alec Manoa. So they're kind of interchangeable. Maybe Teoscar is a bit more of a superstar hitter than we could find, but I don't know. I think outfielders that are good hitters are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know if they like in theory it sounds like a good idea. I don't know if they actually trade both though, given the whole clubhouse thing. I feel like that would be maybe a bit too much at once. But what I could see happening is they trade one and then sign a left-handed bat and trade one of the players for like pitching. I feel like that would be the most likely scenario. Maybe like a Brandon Nimmo, like we've talked about a few times. That would be a dream scenario. Brandon Nimmo, trade Teo, get a starting pitcher. We've covered almost all of our issues in like two moves. But obviously easier
Mm.
said than done. I guess we'll get into now who is there a certain player or position, obviously pitching. I don't really know what the trade market is really like the value of Teoscar Hernandez, for example. You'd
Mhm.
expect it's, good, but he only has 1 year left on his contract.
Mhm. I didn't have anything in mind until you mentioned Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah.
Now, I'll run this by you. It might be a little crazy here, but what do you think of like a straight up swap? So Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez for Brandon Nimmo, Chris Bassett, and like another, let's say a bullpen arm.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Now, is Brandon Nimmo a free agent or is he, I think,
He might be, but
even if he
but
is, a
it would
sign,
it
whatever.
would have to be like a
Yeah,
sign and
so
trade type thing.
and this is all hypothetical anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, that would be that would be a blockbuster deal that probably would never happen. But
No.
it that would be great for both sides, you'd think. Obviously the Mets, they need to change some stuff up, and Chris Bassett would also be a free agent there. Maybe a way to trade like Teo for Brandon Nimmo straight up and sign Chris Bassett instead of the a big trade thing like that. But yeah, no, I'm all in on Brandon Nimmo. I'm hoping Jays do whatever it takes, and essentially you sign Brandon Nimmo and then you move Teo or Lourdes, one of the two, for whoever you can get at that point. Um, yeah, I that would be just getting those players in any capacity would be a goal that we should be looking for, and I'm sure they are.
And we've talked about it a lot. We were saying we were advocating for George Springer to move to one of the corner outfield spots just because he's had a tough time staying healthy, not just in his Jays career, but in his entire career so far. So I don't know. I think if you move him to right field, takes a lot of pressure off of him. He's still a great right fielder, not as much value as a right fielder than you would have as a center fielder, but you get a Gold Glove caliber player in Brandon Nimmo, a guy who's a lefty bat who hits for average, has a bit of pop, not as much as Springer, but you're getting value there, and you're preserving arguably your best player for when it matters most.
Yeah, I'm all for moving him to one of the corners. And there's been a few reports about Brandon Nimmo a couple weeks ago, and now we have this one, saying that they're probably going to trade Lourdes or Teo, maybe for a star. It was mentioned in there a few days ago as well. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And again, this is all speculation. Obviously, we don't. There's no really full reports yet. The best we can do is reports by these writers and like their insight and stuff. But it's all speculation from our end regarding who they're going to trade for. But it's looking like they're going to trade, and we did get the John Schneider thing right. We that report by that guy did end up being correct. Any quick thoughts on that? We'll just you weren't there for the last video, but really really quick
Yeah.
thoughts.
Well, I texted you off
Yeah,
camera, and I just said that it was a great move and that it had to get done. He's got the clubhouse behind him. Matt Chapman, a guy who only saw John Schneider as a manager for, I don't know, 60 plus games, and he said, "Wow, this is the guy that's going to take us to where we need to be."
yeah.
And for a guy like Matt Chapman to say that, a veteran that's seen a lot in the MLB, that says a lot about John Schneider. It says a lot about his character, and I think he can do some great things moving forward.
Yeah, I think we share the same feelings there. I hit on the same things. They also gave him we have a team option for 2026 as well, which can never go wrong with one of those. And Kevin Gosman actually quote tweeted the tweet of the re-signing, saying glad to have him back. So clearly no hard feelings for him pulling there. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what the offseason entails for trades, and I can see things picking up pretty soon on the Jays front. I think they know they need to make some major changes, and everything, all the like the rumbles are all reporting, and like they're all leaning towards some maybe not major changes, but a significant change in the team.
Right, and John Schneider, we'll touch on him a little bit more here. He can't. A manager's not going to win you 162 games a year. Maybe they manage a couple of games perfectly and they squeeze out a couple more wins for you each season, or even lose a couple more for you each season. But it doesn't make that much of a change. What the Jays need is a bit of a roster shakeup. You can't keep going into the year with the same core every single season. It just doesn't work. You got to make changes, and I think the Jays are going to do that. But before we sign off, just want to thank you so much for making it this far. We're on the road to 1K subscribers, so play that graphic, Nick. Love to see Vladdy rolling around downtown Toronto there, and you guys have been rolling with that subscribe button. So thank you so much for all the support. It's meant so much to us.
Yeah, we're on the slow part of the season, but we're still going to be making daily uploads. We'll have a few other things coming out. Some interesting new video types, with some awards and stuff coming like that, potential trades, and it won't stop until the season starts, and then we're just going to get even more into it. So appreciate all the support.
All right, guys. Peace.